It's getting harder and harder to really stack all the studs. So which one are you going with at center tonight, Pete?
I'm going with Elias Pettersson. He had his best game of the season the other day. He normally plays center. He's moved to the wing a little bit under Bruce Boudreau, so something to keep an eye out for there in terms of which position you can roster him. But he's only 4,700, and he's playing Nashville, who's allowed 12 goals, 4 in each of their past 3 games. So, yeah, I think that the Pettersson wrinkle is real. He definitely has a much higher ceiling considering his career points per game average. He's only averaging a half a point per game this season, but his career points per game average is over 0.8. So very high ceiling down the road, and especially now that he's finally ignited for them and they're trying to finish off their road trip with a bang here. So I like Pettersson. I'm working him into my lineup regardless of what position he plays these days.
All right, Paul, you spending some big cash here.
No, I'm not. The game of the night certainly features the top 2 centers when Carolina meets Boston, and I think they're going to cancel each other out. I'm talking about Aho and Bergeron. Instead, I'm looking at a trio of other guys. I'm considering Rupe Hintz for $7,200. His Dallas club rolls out the welcome mat for the league's worst team as Montreal comes to town on the second of their back-to-backs in their current road trip. Hintz is centering the Stars' top line, has 9 points in his last 10 games. Braden Point for $6,900. You won't see that price tag very often this season. He faces LA on the road this evening after compiling 8 points in his last 6 games, boosted by the return of line mate Nikita Kucherov. The Kings are on the second of back-to-backs after getting waxed last night against San Jose. And then finally, Matthew Barzal for $6,400 is a compelling third option I consider at center today because he's got a favorable matchup against the Flyers club that may be considering a fire sale in a few weeks as they're on a current 8-game losing streak. Barzal has led the club, the Islanders that is, to a 6-3-1 mark with 13 points in his last 10 games played.
All right, let's make our way to the wings and things department here. I'm pulling up the salaries. Oh, not a shocker there. OV atop, Brad Marchand, $8,500, $200 cheaper. Who is the best option at wing tonight, Paul?
You know what? I called for fading Bergeron, but I might play Marchand tonight, Emerson, because he's the hottest player in the league right now with 10 goals and 18 points in his last 10 games and really rises to the occasion when the stage is the biggest. And I already implied we got the game of the night there tonight. He cost $8,500. I also mentioned Kucherov earlier, and he's got 9 points in only 5 games since his return to lineup. He's a proven top scorer in this league and costs only $7,900. And then finally, Joe Pavelski has the best matchup of the 3 high-price wingers that I'm going to mention. Again, facing the cellar-dwelling Montreal Canadiens. I can't say that often enough. Costing $7,200. He also comes in on a roll with a whopping 15 points in his last 10 games played.
All right, Pete, where are you going here at winger?
Paul mentioned Nikita Kucherov. He leads the NHL right now in points per game. He's only played 8 games, but he's got 13 points. So he's a lineup lock for me. He's going to be playing with Andre Palat banged up. He's playing with his usual line mate, Braden Point, and also Corey Perry's getting a look there. So maybe that's a low ownership stack of Kucherov with Corey Perry to get some exposure to the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are facing the LA Kings. If you're not aware, the LA Kings gave up 5 goals to Timo Meier yesterday to one player. First time that's happened in the league since 2020 when Zibanejad did it. So if Timo Meier, who's a great player in his own right, is going to drop 5 goals on the LA Kings, what is Nikita Kucherov going to do against them with LA being on the second of a back-to-back? Something to look at here in terms of ceiling and slate breaker. So I would get Nikita Kucherov into my lineup.
All right, let's make our way back to the blue line, gentlemen. Who's your favorite defenseman at the top of the salary board here, Pete? One north of $8,000. You going that high?
I like Roman Josi a lot. I mean, it's a lot to spend for a defenseman, but when you look at the high floor, the high ceiling, he's a Norris Trophy contender. He's worth the price of admission for the Predators who are playing Vancouver. Vancouver's had an up and down road trip, so I'm not against spending up for that. I do think like Mackenzie Weegar is probably the best bang for your buck, considering how safe of a bet Florida has been in terms of, fantasy value and covering spreads and things like that. And I mean, that team is just a total beast right now. One of the best teams in the entire league. They face Calgary on the road, so they're taking their great home play to the road. But yeah, Mackenzie Weegar plays with Aaron Ekblad at even strength. You don't have to stack him with Ekblad because that'll cost a lot, but you can get him into your lineup. He'll bring the points that Ekblad brings, and he'll get you some good category coverage in the process with blocks and shots and things like that.
All right, Paul, who are you looking at for your blue line potato chip tonight?
I am in lockstep with Pete. I think Roman Yossi's a good play if you can fit him in there. Certainly, guys leading all defensemen scoring over the last 10 games and one of the top candidates for Norris Trophy honors on the season year to date. And then with the high octane offense of the Panthers that Pete mentioned, I might even look at Aaron Ekblad, considering he's got 11 points his last 10 games, 35 points and 37 on the year. His career best season is ongoing right now. He cost $6,500 against a Calgary club that is leaking defensively, having given up 20 goals against in their current 4-game losing streak. And finally, Ottawa's Thomas Chabot. We don't show a lot of love for low-end teams too often on the show, but I'm going to mention Thomas Chabot playing his best hockey of the season with 10 points in his last 10 games played. And tonight we'll face a Buffalo club that is giving Michael Hauser his season debut as they search for answers in net. Chabot will cost you $6,200.
All right, Paul, this is typically when you really shine too. Hook me up with the best value play. Who's the best value play to fit all of these great plays we've talked about into your DFS lineup tonight?
Have you noticed that AJ's been away for a while?
You know what? Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because I saw the other day on Twitter, I think he tweeted out a pic of himself in Vegas. I mean, who knows what he's getting into like out there, but thank God you are here to help us with value plays.
Well, and he's making money on all the picks that I've made. So, and here's where you're going to make money if you follow suit. Florida's Carter Verhaeghe playing left wing minutes on the top line, $4,400, producing 9 points and 29 shots in his last 10 games played. Dallas left winger Denis Gurianov for $3,700 has a great matchup against Montreal while playing alongside Sagan and Ben, who are again reunited and newly motivated to play again together. And it was mentioned earlier by Pete, Corey Perry riding shotgun with Point and Kucherov and producing 8 points in his last 10 games. I think I could do that. And he costs only $2,900 in this spot. I mentioned the Islanders' favorable matchup against Philly and find that Kiefer Bellows has been moved up to the right wing spot alongside Barzal right now. And Bellows, for his part, earned that promotion on the strength of 5 points while playing limited minutes in his last 7 games and could see more time with this promotion while costing only $2,700 against the woeful Flyers tonight.
Pete, where are you going for some value, dude?
So I mentioned Elias Pettersson. Check DraftKings. He is actually wing eligible. So DraftKings right on the ball as usual. Nice. Eric Howla is a great value center. If you're looking to spend up elsewhere, he's playing with David Pastrnak and Taylor Hall, 2 real high caliber wingers. And yeah, Howla's got at least a point in 7 of his past 8 games. So I love that exposure to the Bruins, who are one of the hottest teams in the league right now. If you want to get exposure to the Bruins, but you don't have room at center, go with their new rookie defenseman standout, Urho Vakanainen. 2,500 DraftKings minimum, 4 assists in his first 5 games of the season, and playing nearly 20 minutes a game. So you got to love that.